Hello, my name is Mohammad Azim Azim, and I'll be presenting about some of the core functions of Power BI. The functions include how to connect your Power BI to your dataset, how to shape and combine your data, how to pivot columns, how to create custom columns, and how to insert query formulas into your data.
First, we will talk about how to connect your Power BI to your dataset. You can either select one of the options in this middle area right here, or you can go up left and see the options on how to connect your dataset up here. You can get more options by clicking this drop-down menu. And right now, we are going to focus on Excel. Go to your files and search for your dataset. Select Open, and it will slowly insert your dataset into your Power BI. As you can see, this navigator will open up after your dataset has been loaded. You can see the Excel spreadsheet is in this display option. And here below it, you can see the sheets you have inside the Excel spreadsheet. Select the page you want, and it will load up an evaluation page. Make sure that the dataset is the correct one you want to be inserted. Tick it right here. If there are more spreadsheets or more pages, you could tick multiple ones. And either you can choose to transform the data, or you can just load it into your Power BI, which we will do right now. As you can see here, you can view your dataset on the left tab right here. And from here, you can do anything you want with your data. Now, I'll tell you how to transform your data to suit your needs in your project. One of the many ways you can do this is by pivoting columns, creating custom columns, insert query formulas, combining data, and merging data. I'll tell you about how to do each one of these tasks. The first thing you want to do when shaping and combining your data is clicking this button right here, the transform data button. This will pop up this new menu called the PowerBI editor. All of your shaping and editorial needs are in here when you want to try to shape your data. You can see all your applied steps on the right here. You can see all of them and how they interact with your data, and you can cancel them if you feel like that step is unnecessary or it is unneeded. Once here, let me show you how to combine your data. First, go to the Combine button on the upper right corner here, and you can select Merge Queries. You can see this table will be pulled up, the Merge table. You can see the preview of the currently selected dataset, and here you can select any other dataset you have already inside your Power BI. After selecting the two datasets you want to insert, you can select how they are joined with this list right here. After selecting which one you want, click OK. Make sure that the two datasets are compatible with each other before selecting OK, or shaping the data until it is compatible with each other so it can merge properly. The second thing you can do in your Power Query Editor is to shape your data. This is a general rule when trying to manage your data and trying to connect it to other databases. Go into this tab right here, and you can see how to shape your data on all of these options on top. Make sure you keep track of your applied steps on the right here, so you know what have you done to your data. Also, you can select which data you want to view at the moment by seeing the queries on the left side right here. The next thing you can do is to group your data. You can do this by selecting this icon up here in the Home tab. This window will pop up, the Group By window, and you can specify how you want to group your data. You can either choose Basic or Advanced, select column, select the name of the new column, the operation, and any other thing you want to do. Press OK, and the step will be inserted on the applied step right here. In the Power Query Editor, you can also pivot your data. Go to the Transform tab up here, and go to the Pivot button right here. This window will pop up, the Pivot column window, and you can choose which column you want to pivot, and select OK when you are satisfied. You can also create your own custom column by going to the Column tab right here, and then selecting how you want to insert your column from all of these options up here. The creating a column will also be inserted into the applied steps, so you can see what changes have been made to your data. The last thing I'll tell you how to do is to insert some formulas into your database. You can do that by going to your custom column button right here and inserting a formula you want to be inserted, and it will create a custom column with the function within it. Make sure all of these steps are visible within your applied steps, so you can make sure you have done it. You can Also, make sure that all of your steps are of your liking, and if you do not like them, you can always cancel them. But be mindful, it will affect all of the steps applied after the one you have canceled.
Data modeling is one of the features used to connect multiple data sources in Power BI tool using a relationship. With this modeling feature, you can build custom calculation on the existing table, and this column can be directly presented into Power BI visualizations. So for this topic, I will separate it into three subtopics, which is about custom column, second one is calculated column, and the third one is relationships. So let's go. So before using the Power Query editor, we must load some dataset into Power BI. So in this demonstration, we'll be using the provided dataset by Power BI. So use try sample dataset, load sample data. So here are the available datasheet. We select financial and then click load. Okay. So the data has been loaded. Then we can continue to create our custom column. Okay. So at the home ribbon tab, we go to transform data, then click transform data. The Power Query editor will pop up. So here we can see all the columns available in the table. Okay. And now to add a column, go to add column and then click custom column. Then the custom column will appear. So the custom column window has several features. The first one is the new column name, which is for naming our new column. And then the available column, which lists all the available column in the table. And then the custom column formula, where we can create Power Query formula or DAX and etc. So in the next part, we will demonstrate on how to create formula for your custom column. To create formulas for your custom column, we select the column in the available column list, click insert, and complete the formula in the text box area. So for example, we want to create a custom column named quarter to display the date in quartile. So we select the date column in the list, click on insert, then we complete the formula, and don't forget to rename the column as quarter. Alright, so if there is no syntax error being detected, it will display like this. So we click OK. So right here, we can see that the column has been created. How to use the advanced editor for custom columns. After you have created your query, you can also use the advanced editor to modify any step of your query. To do so, follow this step. So in the Power Query editor, we go to the view ribbon and then click on the advanced editor. So the advanced editor will appear, which gives you full control over your query. So how to create a calculated column for date field. We will continue this demonstration using the same dataset as before. So in this example, we want to generate a calculated column for the date field to display the month in a more abbreviated way, which is more simple and can conserve more space. So to create our new column in the financial table, we right click on it and select new column. So by default, the first column, the first user defined column will be named as column, and as the user keep on creating new column, it will be named as column 2, column 3, and so on if the user doesn't define it. So we want to make it more recognizable, so we name it as month name. Okay, and then put the equal sign. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to convert the month, example January, into a more short form, which is Jan. So there is a DAX feature in Power BI which allow that, which is named as format. So we type on format. Okay, yeah, you can see right here that Power BI suggests the available DAX feature as you type in, and it also display the parameter and its distribution. So we select on format. Okay, click enter, and then we enter the value. So the value is the column in the table. So we want to use the date in the financials table. So we type financials date. Okay, and then the format. So in this case, we want to make it more abbreviate. So we put on MMM. Right. So okay. So when it's complete, click on the right tick button. Alright. So as you can see right here, the column, the new column has been created, and we can drag it right here. So this is the newly created calculated column of month name. But if you notice here, the month is not sorted properly because by default, Power BI sort the list through alphabet. So to fix this, we double click on the month name field and go to the column tool. So over here, sort by column. We select month number, right? Okay. So yeah, now the month is sorted properly from January to December. Use the new column in the report. So to use the new column, just select or drag the month name column from the financial table into the report canvas to create a table showing all its content. Okay, and then you can select any other field you want to use with your month name column to look at. For example, we want to look product by month name. So we select product. So we drag. Yeah. So how to create a calculated column that uses an if function. So in this example, we want to create a new column that shows either the products have discount or not. So we create a new column just like in previous discussion. Okay. And then we name it as discount available. Okay. So we want to use the if function. So we write if. Okay. So right here we can see the description. So the first argument is a logical test, which is the condition that we set, and then the result if true, which is the statement that will be written if the condition is true, and this is if the result is otherwise. Okay. So since we want to check if the discount is available or not, this means that the discount must be more than 0. So we write it like this. Okay. So if the condition is true, we return available. Otherwise, unavailable. So close bracket, then click on the right tick. Okay. So to see it work, we drag the discount available column. Okay. And then we drag the product column also. Yeah, so we can see right here, the column is working. Okay, how to create and manage relationships in Power BI desktop. So for this demonstration, we will use two tables which name project hours and company project. So for this demonstration, we will use two tables which name project hours and company project. Okay, company project hour and company project. So you can copy this table from the document and paste into two different Excel sheet and save the name as I mentioned before. All right. So moving back to Power BI, once you have created the two Excel worksheet, we can import the data into this report. So click on this import data from Excel. All right, select one of them. It may take some time. Right. So we select this company project. Okay. So we load. So then we repeat the same process for the other table. Okay. Okay, so once this has been loaded, let's move on to how to create a relationship with auto detect. So in Power BI, there is a special feature called auto detect, which identify any predefined relationship between the tables and then generates a new relationship. So to demonstrate this feature, we click on the table in the field pane. So in the table 2 ribbon, we select manage relationships. So right here, we click on auto detect. So if there is any predefined relationship, Power BI will automatically create the new relationship. But in this case, we just recently created the table and we didn't make any relationship between them. So Power BI does not create any. So despite the table does not have any relationship, we can still create a new relationship manually. So how to do that? Okay, first we click on this button and then we select the table and columns that are related, company project and project hours. But in this case, since there are only two tables, so the Power BI automatically add this table. Okay, and then we select the column that are related. Right, so right here we select project name from company project, and then project from project hours. Okay, so by default, Power BI set the cardinality to one to many and cross filter direction to single, and make this relationship active. So all these things actually you can change it if necessary by yourself. Okay, so we click OK to create the relationship if there is no error. Yeah, the relationship is successfully created. So to edit this newly created relationship, just click on the edit button. So this window will pop up. So you can change the table and change the column that are related. You can also change the cardinality, cross filter direction, and untick this, make this relationship active. So once you have done editing your relationship, just click on OK, and it is done.
Hello everyone, my name is Lee Tong Meng, and I will be explaining about reports and dashboards in Power BI. Reports, dashboards, and also datasets are the major building blocks of Power BI. A report provides a multi-perspective look at your data, along with graphics that depict various discoveries and insights, while a personalized dashboard provides a consolidated view across every metric from the dataset imported, giving users the chance to monitor all important data at a single glance. Before we start building our report, let us first go through the report editor interface in the Power BI desktop app. You can create and edit your report either in Power BI desktop app or even the Power BI online service. Both will have the same look as the screen. So the report editor is mainly divided into three sections. Firstly, the ribbon section, the report canvas, and also the tree editor pane here, the filters pane, visualizations pane, and also the fields pane. So for the ribbon pane, it contains all the actions available from saving a report to inserting new visuals to modeling your data, to view and change your report themes, and also customer support. You can also use the search box, which is located on top of your screen, to search and also choose your actions. The second section of our report editor is the report canvas here on the left of your screen. The report canvas will contain all your work and the visuals. On the bottom of the canvas are all the pages present in your report. You can add pages to the report by clicking the add icon here, or you can do modification to your pages by right-clicking on the page, and you can duplicate it, rename it, delete it, or to hide it. The final section is the editor pane, which contains of three more tabs: the filters pane, visualizations pane, and also the fields pane. The filters pane will let you see all the elements or the data fields that are present in your report page or a particular visualization. For the visualizations pane, on top of it, you can choose your visualization type, either to display it in a bar chart, line chart, area chart, pie chart, etc. At the bottom of the visualizations pane, firstly, you have a bucket-like icon here, which lets you to manage all the fields present in a visualization. The pane roller icon in the middle here lets you to format the visual, whereas the magnifying glass icon, which stands for the Analytics tab, which lets you to add analytics to a particular visualization. The final pane, which is the field pane here, will display all the tables, folders, and the fields from your data set. The data fields listed here are available for you to use to create visualizations in your report. Now I'll be explaining on how to create a report. To create a report from scratch, you will need to open the Power BI desktop app. Once you open the app, it will lead you to this page. You will need to select the data to add to your report. You can select from the four icons in the report canvas, either to import the data from Excel, from a SQL Server, paste data into a blank table, or try a data sample set. You can also choose from the Home tab above. Once the data is selected, for example, I will choose to import my data from Excel, and I'll choose the financial sample Excel file. Once you select your data, a navigator window will pop up as shown. At the navigator window, you can select any sheet that is in your data set, and the navigator will show a preview of the data. If you are happy with the data, you can select Load to apply the data set into your report. If you wish to make changes to your data set first, you can select Transform Data. And a Power Query Editor window will pop up to let you to make changes to your data, either to shape your data, model your data, as explained by Zuhaki. So once you have finished making changes to your data, just select Close and Apply here. Then your data will be successfully loaded into your report. In the fields pane, you can see all the data fields that are present from the sheet of the data set that you have selected. And now you can start building your report. Typically, most people will choose to create the report using the Power BI desktop app, and then they will publish to the Power BI online service, and then only they make modifications to the report using the Power BI online service. However, you can also use the Power BI online service to create your report. Just go to app.powerbi.com and sign into your Microsoft account, then go to your home page, and here we can select Add New Report. However, this function where you collect the data here is limited, as you need to paste or manually enter data, or you can only pick a published dataset. That means you have to publish a dataset into your workspace here. Then only you can select the data to be loaded into the report if you are using the Power BI Online service. Next, I will show you how to add visuals into our report. From the data that we have loaded and transformed just now, we can now see all the fields and elements that are present in our dataset in the fields pane. So you can simply create visualization by dragging one of the fields from the fields pane to the empty report canvas, for example. And a numeric field, for example, the gross margin this year that I created just now, will automatically create a single column chart. Whereas a category field, let's say for example, the category, will automatically produce a visual in a table form. Next, a geography field, such as the postal code here, will automatically create a map visualization. We can also add other elements to our present visualization to create combo charts. Let's say for example, I take this gross margin this year that we have just created, and I want to compare the gross margin of last year to the gross margin of this year. So let's say I take gross margin last year and add it to gross margin this year, and it will automatically show two columns. One is the gross margin this year and the other one is the gross margin last year. And one of the combo charts that Power BI supports is the line and stack column charts, which is at the visualizations pane. You can click on the visualization, and if you want to change it to line and stack column chart, it will actually show you this, where you can straight away compare the gross margin of this year to the gross margin of last year. You can also add categories such as month, set the time such as a month, and add it onto the shared axis, and it will automatically categorize the sales by month. And for the line values, because we are using the line and stack column chart, so we can maybe add another item to compare. Let's say for example, I want to put on the last year's sales. So it will now show the last year's sales displayed in a line. So this is all about the line and stack column charts. We can also change the visualizations here. The visual now is the line and stack column chart. So if you want to change it to the area chart, you can just simply click on the area chart icon in the visualizations pane, and it's now changed to the area chart. We can also create card visuals in the Power BI report. Card visuals are created to show a single number. This is most commonly used to track the most important visuals. So to create a card, we just select the card icon in the visualizations pane, and now we just have to select and drag one of the fields. Let's say for example, I will take the store count, and it will automatically show the store count in a single number. This is the card visual. Next, we can also create the decomposition tree visuals, which is a valuable tool for conducting root cause analysis. The decomposition tree visual can be selected by clicking on the decomposition tree icon in the visualizations pane. So this visual will actually require two types of input, the analyze and also the explain by. Analyze is the measure or aggregate that you would like to analyze. Explain by is one or more dimensions that you could choose to drill down into the analyze. So let's say for example, for the analyze, I would like to choose on the last year sales, for example. So I add here into analyze. So we can see that the last year sales is approximately 23,000 plus. And for the explain by, let's say if you want to explain last year sales, how come it is 23,000 plus? So we can actually explain by, let's say, we want to explain by district, and maybe explain by buyers, explain by categories, explain by segments, explain by chains. So we can select one or more dimensions that we want to explain. So there is a plus button in the decomposition tree visual here to let you choose which field you want to drill into, and it will expand the tree. For example, if I choose on the district, so it will now explain the last year's sales based on the districts. As you can see here, it is the sales of each district. You can even explain more by clicking on the plus icon. So we want to split district with buyers. So let's say if we choose this FDO4 district, it will now split the data into the customers or buyers. So this is all about the decomposition tree visual. Another visual that we can create is the donut chart. So let me just add another page. Add on the donut chart here. So let's say we want to choose the sales by categories. So we'll put sales, for example, the last year sales into the values. And for our legend, we will choose categories because we want to categorize the sales by the category. So as you can see now, it is perfectly displayed in a donut chart, which shows the sales by category. The next chart I would like to show is the funnel chart. So to create a funnel chart, we can select on the funnel icon here in the visualizations pane. So let's say I want to group the sales by category. So first I put the sales in the values, which is same as the donut chart. And next I will put the category on the group here. So we can now see the sales are automatically grouped by category, starting from the most sales to the smallest part, which is the lowest sales. Another visual that we have in the Power BI is the gauge chart. So this gauge chart, for example, I want to see on the last year sales. So I'll put it in the value here, and it shows here 23 mil. For the gauge chart, we can actually set the target value. For example, let's say the last year sales is 23 mil. So I want to set the target for the next year. Let's say I'll put this year's sales, which is, I put total sales here in the target value. So the target value will show it in a line in the gauge chart. So this is to show whether you have reached your target. Next chart is the ribbon chart, depicted by the ribbon chart icon in the visualization pane. So ribbon charts are very effective at showing the rank change, with the highest value always displayed on top of each period. There are three values to be selected here: the axis, legend, and the values. So let's say for example, I want to select this year's sales on the values here. And then I would like to select category for the legend. I want to categorize each sales by category. And then for the axis part, I would like to further split the sales by month. So I can add fiscal month here, and it will now automatically show it in a ribbon chart. So as we can see in the ribbon chart here, if we hover across a specific period of time, it will actually show you the rank change of the particular period. So the next chart I would like to show is the scatter chart. So let's say I use back this donut chart of the last year's sales by category chart. So if I want to change it to scatter chart, I can just click on the visualizations pane here, the scatter chart icon. So it will now show all the sales by category in a scatter chart. And the next chart I would like to show is the tree maps. The tree maps display the hierarchical data as a set of nested rectangles. So let's say, for example, I want to create a tree map. So tree map is depicted by this tree map icon here in the visualizations pane. And we select the group. Let's say we want to group it by category. And then for the details, we would like to show about the chain, the store chain. And then the values, of course, we will put on the sales for this year. And now we can see that the info of the sales based on the categories and also the store chains are shown in a tree map. So these rectangles are arranged in size from the top left, which shows the largest sales, to the bottom right, which shows the smaller sales. Another example of a visual is the waterfall chart, which is at the visualizations pane here. So for this waterfall chart, I would like to show on the total sales, let's say. So I add it into the values, and I would like to categorize this total sales by category as usual. So I will put the category, and I would like to categorize this sales by month to see the monthly profit or losses. So I'll add on the fiscal month for the category. So as we can see here, waterfall charts will show a running total as the Power BI will add or subtract value. The last visual that I would like to show is the Q&A visual, the question and answer visual. So to create a Q&A visual, the Q&A icon here from the visualizations pane is selected. So automatically it will create a Q&A visual. And to create the visual, you can select one of the suggested questions below here, or you can just type on the question box. So let's say you want to search on the sales, and Power BI will automatically search for recommendations for you to choose on. And so this is the end on how you add visuals. Of course, there are a lot more visualizations that is present in the Power BI, and you may explore it. The next step that I would like to show for the report part is about saving and publishing your report. So after you have finished making your changes to your report, you can save the report. But let's say if you try to exit the Power BI desktop app, but the report still have unsaved changes, a prompt will be displayed. So you can save your report here, or you can just use the traditional method by clicking on the save icon on the top left corner of your screen. So about publishing your report, to publish a report, you have to select File, Publish, and Publish to Power BI. Or you can just select the Publish button located at the Home tab here. So when you click to Publish to Power BI, you need to select a destination to publish it. So for me, I will just have to choose my workspace. So we'll click Select here. And upon successful publishing, a link to your report will be displayed here, and you can select on the link to open your report in the Power BI website. For example, here. So as we can see, our report just now has been published into our workspace on the Power BI online service. So this is it about saving and publishing your report. The final part that I would like to explain about is the dashboards. So a Power BI dashboard is a single page, also known as a canvas, that uses visuals to convey a narrative. But unfortunately, dashboards are only available as part of the Power BI online service. They are not available in the Power BI desktop app. So how to create a dashboard? So after we have published a report as discussed in the previous section, we can go to our Power BI online service and open any reports that are available in our workspace. So I will now go to my workspace, and we can see all our saved and published contents in our workspace. There's the list of types shown, such as reports, datasets, and so on. So let's say, for example, I will choose on the sales and marketing sample report. So to create a dashboard, we can choose any of the visuals here. So let's say, for example, I want to choose on the total category volume by segment. So we can select the pin visual icon here to pin it into our dashboard. So when we select the pin visual here, a prompt will be displayed to ask users to select whether you want to add your visual to the new dashboard or your existing dashboard. If new dashboard is selected, you have to key in your dashboard name. So for example, I would like to pin my visual into the new dashboard, and I would like to name my dashboard as dashboard 1. So now I will just click on pin to pin it into the dashboard. So after successfully pinning all the visuals that you would like to pin into your new dashboard, you can just click on go to dashboard just now, or you can go back to your workspace and then click on the dashboard. So this is the visual that we have just pinned into our dashboard. Visuals can also be pinned to the dashboard by using the Q&A on top of the dashboard. So we can just type on the data that we would like to visualize. So let's say I would like to click on the total units by geostate, and we will automatically give a visual for you to pin it into your dashboard. So again, we select pin, and now we go back to the dashboard. So we can see now the new visual is pinned onto the dashboard. So this dashboard is an interactive interface where we can just drag and drop to order our visuals according to the importance. And also we can click on certain visuals to view on the report and maybe do some modifications on the report. So this is it about dashboards in the Power BI.
Hi guys, my name is Haruniza Makimi, and I'll be presenting to you about DAX in Power BI. DAX stands for Data Analysis Expression, which is a formula expression language that was created specifically for the handling of data models through the use of formula and expressions. Before we start writing our DAX expression, we need to ensure that the relationship between our tables has been established. In this tutorial, we'll be using three tables, which is cookie types, customers, and orders. Orders table is the main table which contain most of the important information, while cookie types and customers tables are the lookup tables which provide the supportive information towards the orders table. Here we can see that the Power BI has automatically established a connection between the orders table and the customers table, which is customers ID. But notice that there is no relationship between cookies type and orders table. In the orders table, we can see that there is a product, which is, if we look into the data, it is similar to the cookie type. So to create the relationship, just drag the cookie type onto the product, and the Power BI will create the relationship between the two tables. Now that we have established the relationship between our tables, we are ready to create the measure. So what is a measure? Measure is a calculation that runs across our data models. So now we go to the data view. In this order table, we can see that there is a column named as unit sold, and each of the cells return the value of unit sold for respective single order. So now we are going to calculate the total number of unit sold for all of the orders. Now we go back to the report view, and to create the measure, hover our table's name and right click, and then pick new measure. And the measure tool will pop up at the top of the ribbon. So the measure over here, we just replace with the name of our measure that we want. Or now I will put as total number of unit sold. And now we are going to use the DAX function, which is sum function. As you can see, this is a feature that is called IntelliSense, which it will tell you all the function that contain sum and what are the function definition, which is now we are going to use the sum that is going to add all the number in a column. So here, after that, we are required to put the column name. So we want to calculate the total number of units sold from the order table. So we just scroll down until we find the order tables and the column name unit sold, and close the parenthesis and click enter. As you can see over here on the right side, on the field section, we can see that our measure has been created with the name total number of units sold. So we are going to view this measure in matrix form, which is the number of the total units sold, which is 1 million plus. We can also pull in other data into our measure so that we can visualize our measure in a different view. Here, I am going to click on the customer, which is the customer name, and we can see the measure has changed, that we will see every total number of units sold for each of our customer. Notice that there are decimals of 0.5 in our total number of units sold. I believe that this is an error on the data entry level because we don't sell fractional or half of our cookies, as we sold 1 unit by 1 unit. So now we are going to format our measure. To format our measure, just click on our measure name and change over here the decimal number to 0. Now we can see that the total number of our units sold has no more decimals. So now let's say I want to modify the measure that I have created, as in the total number of units sold. I want to change the name into total number of cookies sold. So I just change the name, total number of cookies sold, and it will automatically change across the Power BI report. Over here on the data view of the order tables, we can see that there are respective single order for in the orders table. But now we are going to calculate how many total orders are here in this orders table. So now we are going to create another measure. As the step is the same as before, just right click on the table's name, new measure, and now we are going to create a new measure, and I'm going to name it as total orders. So before we use sum, now we are going to use the count function. So there are many counts. So now because I want to know how many orders are in the tables function, orders table, I'm going to use count rows to count how many rows are there in the tables order. So now after we use the count rows function, it asks for the table's name that we want to count, which is in this case order table. Again, now we see our total orders has been created. We just can click to visualize our measure, and to make it easier, we look in the matrix form, and we can also pull in other information such as name to see respective total orders from each of our customers. Sometimes our measure can be quite complicated as we have a lot of function in the measure. So to make it easy for the user to understand what are the measure and all the functions are for, we can add command into the measure. To add command, just click on our measure name, and we will be given the same tab as before. Just shift enter to get to the next line, and put 2 / to enter our command. After the double forward slash, all of the text written after that will be counted as command and will not be executed. And this is how we create command. Earlier before, we have created a simple measure with only one function in the measure expression. Now, we are going to create a measure with some operators in the expression. We are going to calculate the total profit from the orders table by subtracting the total revenue with the total cost. Now, we go back to the report view. As before, right-click on the orders table, click new measure, and I'm going to name it as total profit. So now we use the sum function to calculate the total revenue from the order table, and minus or subtraction operator, we minus with the total value of the cost column from the order table. So our measure has been created. Now we can see that our total profit is above 2 million. So now I'm going to show another two ways to create the calculation for the total profit. Right click on the order's name and then click new quick measure. And then this quick measure tools will pop up. Select the calculation that we want to do, which is the subtraction from before, because we want to calculate the total revenue, subtract the total cost. So for the base value, we are going to click on the revenue and drag to it. And then the value to subtract is the cost. And then click OK. So now Power BI will create the measure for us. As you can see, a measure with name revenue with cost has been created. When we click, we can see that the value returned to us is the same as before. So as we can see, the function that the Power BI has created, the data expression, is the same as the one we created. So now I'm going to show you guys the last method on how we can calculate the total profit by using a calculated column. To create a calculated column, go to the data view on our orders table, click new column, and the same as before, it will give a pop-up above as before. Name our column as profit, and the function that we want is we want to subtract the revenue column with the cost column. So the revenue minus our cost. Our profit is generated for every single row of our tables, and the profit column has been created. So now we go back to the report view, we create another measure with the name of total profit 2 with the sum function. But now we just need to input the profit column. We add to our data visualization and we get the same value return as before. So some of us might be wondering, why do we need to do this method if we can only use the measure? Bear in mind, our calculated column is very useful if you want to use it in a slicer or filter. So far, what we have been doing, we only use the aggregator function. So what does it mean by aggregator function? So aggregator function, it calculates the value of a column that is available on the column. So as before, when we use sum, you calculate all the value that is available on the revenue column. So we can get the total revenue. But what if we need to do the calculation row by row? So this is when the iterator function comes in. So this depends on our data structure. Let's say for our orders table, we can use the aggregator function to calculate the profit because we can calculate the total revenue and the total cost to do the operation with. But now let's say we look at the cookie types tables, which is if we want to calculate the profit, we need to calculate row by row, which is the number of units sold, multiply the revenue per cookie, and subtract the cost per cookie. So how to create iterator function? Same as before. Now we want to create the iterator function at the cookie types table. So just create new measure, and then we are going to name it as total profit 3, and use the same function as before, which is the sum function. So what we need to do to make it the function is iterator function. Just add x at the end of any function that we want, which is such as count, listing, and so on. So as we can see, when we put x at the end of the function, it said that it will return the sum of the expression evaluated for each row in a table. So it will calculate the summation of our value row by row in the table. Here we need to specify which table we want to do the calculation for. So now it's cookie type. So, and the expression, which is we need to do the calculation, multiplying the units sold times the revenue per cookie minus cost per cookie. So we are going to use the units sold, multiply, we open parenthesis, the revenue per cookies minus the cost per cookie, and click enter. So our measure has been created. So as we can see over here, when we click, we will be given or return the same value for the total profit. So it depends on our data structure on how are we going to use the function. Either it is row by row, which is iterator function, or aggregator function is column by column. So now we want to know how many cookies we sell on each day in a week, whether we sell more on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday. So in order to do that, we're going to add a new column, which is by using the function, time and date function, and we are going to name the column as day of week. So the function that we're going to use is the weekday function. So, and we can see over here, the day function, which will return a number from 1 to 31, represent the day of the month. But now we are going to use the weekday, which is going to return only 1 to 7, identifying the day of the week that we want in a week. So the date, which is our cookies orders table, the date, and then our format is 1 because we want Sunday as 1 and Saturday till Sunday as 7. So 1, close parenthesis. So now we got another column name as day of the week. As we can see, Saturday is 7, Monday is 2, Tuesday is 3. So now we can see over here, if you want to see, now we are going to click the day of week. Now we can see the visualization, but we can see clearly the number of sales cookies per day. So now we are going to drag the day of week and put it up to the axis, and now we can see clearly how many cookies sold in each day. So in day of week 3, which is Tuesday, we set 535. So we can see that our cookie is the highest on Tuesday and lowest on Sunday and Monday. So now we are going to do some logical function, and in these order tables, we can see there are products of the cookies. So now we are going to check whether the cookies contain chocolate or not. And here we can see there are chocolate chips, which contain cookies. 14 cookie doesn't contain, oatmeal raisin doesn't contain, snickerdoodle doesn't contain, sugar doesn't contain, and we have white chocolate macadamia nut, which contain chocolate in it, and the list goes on. So we are going to create a new column, which is, we are going to name it as has chocolate, and we are going to use the find function because we want to find the text within the text. Okay, so find function, so we want to find the text. Don't forget to put in the double quote, which is the word we want to find is chocolate, and then within the column that we want to say, which is the product from the orders table, and then start position is 1 because we want to start search at the beginning, and the value to be written if there is no chocolate, we are going to return as 0. So click enter. So now we can see over here a new column has been created, which is named as has chocolate, and here we can see it contains chocolate and it written as 1, and the cookie that doesn't contain chocolate written as 0. But notice here, white chocolate macadamia is written as 7 because white chocolate macadamia is at the 7, is number 7 in the list of the product, so it written as 7. So now we can see that it means whichever value that is written other than 0 contains chocolate, other than 0. So 0 doesn't contain chocolate. So to make it this look more presentable, we are going to add if function at the front. So if function, so this is our logical test. We are going to test if we can find the chocolate. Then the logical test, let's say just now we say that 0 doesn't contain chocolate. So we can use the logical function, logical operator, which is if it is greater than 0, we will return the value has chocolate. And if the return value is not greater than 0, which means it is 0, it means it has no chocolate. And enter. So here we can see chocolate chip, it has chocolate, and the list goes on, and the photo cookie has no chocolate, oatmeal raisin no chocolate, snickerdoodle sugar no chocolate, and white chocolate macadamia has chocolate. So that is how we use the logical function. So now we have come to the last part of our tutorial, which is one of the most powerful and important function, which is the calculate function. So now we go back to the report page. Okay, on the orders table, okay, we are going to create a new measure same as before. We are going to find the number of orders of how many chocolate chips with over 500 units sold. So we are going to use the formula, the function calculate. So as we can see over here, the calculate function evaluate the expression in a context that is modified by filters. So the expression is, we want to calculate the number of orders, which is we have used before, which is the count rows function from the orders table. And then the first filter is the orders from the orders table. We want the unit sold is greater than 500. And the second filter is we want the order of only chocolate chip, which is the product from the order tables, equal to chocolate chip, and enter. Our next measure visualization over here down, we can see that the chocolate chip with over 500 units sold is equal to 185 units. So with that, the end of our tutorial for the DAX in Power BI.